Hey guys, how's it going? Hey, a friend of mine contacted me on a Harley Davidson that they have. They just picked up, but it has a little bit of a problem. Ran good for about the first month, and then they came out one day to go run it. They're using it at a horse farm, as you can kind of tell the barn that we're in. But then just nothing would work on it. They put a new battery in it. They thought that might have been dead. Still same thing, nothing works on it. And tried a couple things. They tried wiggling around the neutral, forward and reverse, see if that would be an issue, key switch, all that kind of stuff. Nothing seems to be working on it, but they asked me to that I could take a look at it. I said sure. We're actually going to bring it back to the shop. We'll get into it. It's got kind of a funky system in them. They have a what's called like a starter generator, and the engine fires up one direction for forward, and it stops, spins the other direction for reverse. But again, it's a bunch of electrical stuff that's on it. I suppose we'll find something that's wrong with it and hopefully be able to get it fixed. But let's get it back to the shop. We'll work on it there so we don't have a barking dog in the background. All right, let's go get it on the trailer. We just may have to readjust when those back tires get to the ramp. We'll see how good we are. Well, I've never worked on one of these, but this never stopped me before. Let's go crack it open. We'll get an idea how the drivetrain works. And as far as I understand, the process is gas motor, you have a starter generator, which is going to be this thing on top, and it switches over. It's used as an electric motor to start it. And then once it's running, it is the charging system to charge the battery back up again. But this also throws another twist in it because you can start it in forward and reverse for forward and reverse. So it looks like it has a lever down here that switches the power, probably just flips the two leads over going to the generator or starter, and to flip it from one side to another. I don't know if it has a neutral or not. I would think it would idle by itself. It looks like it had just kind of like a CVT transmission. The belt changes different sides. Looks like it's got a big brake pad over here. That might be a parking brake of some sort. Single cylinder, air cooled. I don't know how big it is. I don't know what you think. 250cc maybe, something along those lines. It doesn't look terribly beat. It does look like some stuff's been kind of goobered together. Like I'm not sure what's going on with this gas line going into the tank with this cap floating on here and this thing squished off. My guess is somebody restored it or cleaned it up at least and then sold it. I think they got a fuel line running down the side there. I don't see any fuel in the fuel filter. They did say they ran it for about a month. It came from someplace in Maine. I believe she said she bought it. But it won't run for them. Looks like we have for electrical, that might be a fuse. Maybe a resettable fuse. This is a relay. And this is probably, my guess is for charging system. It might be a regulator. Again, that is going to be to switch direction of power from one to the other. If we flip that over, probably just has a big old set of sweep contacts that run that, the battery voltage up to the generator and spins it the other way. Let's go grab a test light and we'll put it over on the battery. Make sure, first of all, the battery has some power. And we'll start getting into it, see what we can figure out. This light should light up if there's anything left in the battery, which it does. All right, so the battery has power. We know that. Let's go see. All right, I am already seeing a problem. I think I see him. Nope, I'm good. I thought this said positive, and they have a positive lead going down. So this is ground side of things. Let's ground out our test light on something. I want to make sure the other ends of the wires are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So let's go with the bolt. And I should be getting a light lit up here. I am. Let me just check and make sure that we go to the frame somewhere that we are seeing power. I just want to see if we dropped it off and we're not. We got pretty good coverage on everything. Hopefully you guys are able to see what I'm seeing. Let me kick you up a little bit. So this is a starter solenoid, and what its job is to continue the power going out. I'm going to eyeball what we have going on here. So this is the hot going into the solenoid. These are from the ignition switch. The little wires are going to be what fire this solenoid, tell it to go. That is not good. The hot lead is cutting into the sheet metal there. This goes up and out and over under the starter generator and hits one tab. Let's go and get a jumper wire. Actually, it almost looks like it's crushed on it. So this right here is hot coming from the battery. This lead right here is what you would put voltage on to make it go. Go pull that away a little. Yeah, that's not very good. We should be able to jump. Like this side should be ground, which it is. So that side of the solenoid is grounded. Let's put a jumper from here to here and see if anything makes any kind of draw or spin or movement of any kind of sort. All right, let's go see. So if we touch that hot lead, that post, this relay should fire, do something. There it goes. So that shows so far that that part is doing okay. You know, notice we have. So it's cranking it. We probably don't have any power set up to for spark. That's probably still off because the key is off. Let's go turn the key on. And let me grab a floor jack, put it underneath the ass end and get one of the tires off the ground just in case it starts up and wants to go take off on us. Try getting the jack underneath the differential. It wasn't happening. So long as you can get one tire off the ground. Because it should be an open differential. Should be. Let's go find out. All right, so turn the key on and we'll try cranking it again. And we'll see if it'll start for us. You know what works really good? If you decide to turn the camera on. I put a jack underneath it, got that tire up off the air, and I had a jumper on it. Of course, I missed the miracle moment. I had a jumper on that starter relay there, and I was going to go turn the key on, and when I went to go hit the gas pedal, it's already running. I don't even have it hooked up to anything, so that's not doing anything. So whatever it is was an intermittent failure. Okay, let's go the other way. See if reverse works. And the back tire should spin in the other direction. Murphy's Law, right? Let's go screw around the key. I'm going to hold my foot on the gas pedal. The only thing I see is the ignition switch is really sloppy. It's got a sloppy switch. Which I hate when they do this. They just kind of play real well. So the ignition switch is kind of... yeah. So if we hold the gas pedal down, there's a micro switch on the gas pedal. See if it acts. See if we can get it to screw up. It's like that key doesn't even do anything. And the part that you missed, I did have to choke it. It took a little while and it did start up. I tried it in forward and reverse. Is in reverse. Let's go try forward. Turn the key on. It's not supposed to sit there and just idle. But so that should be starting right now. And it's not, it's just running off. That's just the generator going. Yeah, it's not starting. Let's go. That's floored. But we are not starting. Let's go back to forward or reverse. Try it again. And now it's not running. Cranking, but it's not running. Give her some choke. Let it die. Let's go try that. Well, my thought is it didn't have any electrical contact. Again, the switch on the bottom was moved back and forth. I don't see that acting up. My concern is probably going to be that starter solenoid. Generally, if any of you guys ever had an 80s down Ford and it didn't crank, that was generally your culprit right there. And or the ignition switch. I think one of those two is what our issue is. Again, it's now decided to solve its own problem, so we have to try to come about it a different way. I don't know how we're going to access that though. How do you get to it? So maybe we reach up inside the forks and you can kind of see it. Maybe we'll throw it back on the forklift and take a peek. Yeah, one of those two is either that Ford relay right there is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. I call it a Ford relay. It's a starter relay. And maybe we'll just kind of keep trying to run it, bounce it around, let it sit for a couple times. We'll run it, let it sit. And that ignition switch is kind of like with it on, the keys coming out of it, you know. Maybe if it's a simple switch, we can kind of replace that with something else too. And this should have a micro switch on it. That makes it crank only when the key's on. And it works. And as soon as you let off, it stalls. There's not like a neutral that's on it. It just pretty much tries the neutral. Well, if you're on the gas pedal a little bit, it's not going to turn the tire because the CVT transmission is not moving. But you know what I mean. You're not going to be able to see too well. We're going to get you up in there. We're up in the wheel well. The tire's right to the left of us. And you can see, I can't see it, but there should be the back ignition switch there. It doesn't look like there's many wires, maybe one or two or three rather, going to it. Let's go pull that down and see what we got. Right next to us, the choke cable. Let's go see if we can get that switch out of there and take a better peek at it. Probably would have been a good idea to disconnect the battery, huh? Oh well, split on the edge. Let's see if we can wiggle that thing. Down a little bit. So we have, what do we have? It's probably just like a garden tractor one. It only has 2 wires, so it's either on or off. All we need is like an on or off switch. Let's get that out of there and see if we can replace it with something a little less cruddy. That's looking a little funky, ain't it? And we could also just kind of put a toggle switch in it. So that was what was in it. It definitely looks like the weather has did its job on it. But it's like the tumbler. Almost you could probably just stick a screwdriver in the thing and work it. You know, it's very Plus, it has way too many selections for something that just needs to be on and off. So let's go in my stash, see if we have anything that is more a simple circuit. And somewhere over here, something is going to say switches. I want to say it's one of these two totes. Let me pull these down. That's light bulbs, I know. See if we can do this without crashing everything. One-handed. One of these is switches. Light bulbs. That must mean this one. I have a little bit more what we're looking for. So let me do a little bit of hunting. Yeah, something like one of these. Again, also all we pretty much need is something that just has two circuits on it. All right, let's go see what we have that will suffice. And I have to drill a hole bigger, but that might be it. Plus that thing will last forever. That's from like the 60s. New old stock. Same vintage as the machine, so. So I ended up chasing down some parts. Hopefully they're gonna work. We're gonna go find out right now. So I got a new starter relay. Like I said, it's just like your typical Ford would have that kind of setup in it. Main power coming in. It's a switched relay. You could do whatever you want on this. This just powers a little coil inside here that energizes and makes contact for a large contact going across. In other words, you could use a little signal to operate a big signal. That's the kind of idea behind solenoids and relays. Because if you had to try to run that through a key switch, you'd cook it. Anyway, our other thing is ignition switch. I wanted to get something that was just simple, on, off, which is this. But I do not know if it is an open or closed signal. We're going to go find out right now. We're going to go put it on ohms. And hopefully it is an open signal, but the key is in the opposition. I think it is. Let's go click it. Oh, we're just going to put a button on it. How's that? And that's closed. So that works out good. I was going to go put a button on it, but I'm saying, like, what if a little kid hops in the thing and is able to kind of start it without having a key in it? So I figured, you know, if it was mine, I'd probably do that, but it's not. So we won't. We got to change over some wires though, because the other one had the little plug-ons. We got to try to transfer them over, or try to convert these to have these on them, or you know what I mean. Need something to work that. I'm going to need to do a little bit of tweaking because we need to make that hole fit that shaft. Let's go. I think we're probably going to have to go all the way. Yeah. How about now? Perfect. Just that way. So the original switch had like slide-on spades, and the new one would have I don't know, you don't call them eyelet ends. You have to cut the wires off and change them, which we could do. But I'm wondering if we can get the tabs out of there, like if we could drill them out. Maybe we could just like screw them right onto the other one, because the wires that are under there don't have any openings in it. We'll try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just see if that may do the trick. And then we can just like, you know, screw them on. We don't have to screw with those wires that are on the end. Go deeper. Pretty tough piece of metal. I know. Need me a bigger drill bit. We'll get it. Where'd it go? There we go. We got it. Went too much. I drilled it in half. Good thing we got a couple to try on. All right, let me try a little bit more graceful. Just try to get the top of the rivet, you know. There we go. As long as we can get a screw through the center of that, should work. We need one more. Number 2. See if they'll screw on. Once we can get that through there. Ooh, she's close. Snug. You think that was worthwhile, or you think it was a dumb idea? Well, depends whether it works or not, right? We'll leave that to the inside. That's going to hurt anything. We'll do the same on the other one. We'll shove that back up on there with the 2 wires on it. I think it's pretty good. Plus, yeah, having them in, it keeps them away from the metal base of out here. There you go, plug that in. All right, that's in. Let's see if it still functions. So we should be able to, right now, nothing happened. And then we turn the key. Yeah, there it goes. And then nothing. So, well, that seems like it should repeat fairly well. And it's a fairly good switch. It's not a piece of crap, you know. All right, let's go do that starter relay, or the solenoid, rather. All right, so like I was saying, these come in a 3-wire and a 4-wire. We could have went with either one. First, let's just get rid of the ground. That was tightened up really good. Let's get rid of the ground so nothing's got power to it, because right now, up to there is live. You go and unbolt it, and you run a wrench across it. It's gonna spark. But now, you run a wrench across it, nothing can happen because it's got no path back to ground. So, the difference between a 3-wire and 4-wire solenoid or starter relay is the ground side. So you see how there's a ground wire on one side? The 3-wire just is the same thing, but it's internally grounded. That's pretty much the only difference. So what it'll do is it'll ground off the mounting bolts here, instead of running a separate wire to it. And then sometimes they probably use, like, if you had a safety, if you're using a lawnmower or something, you could actually run the safety to the ground wire until the circuit's complete. There will be no ground circuit on it and it won't work. Kind of wondering why you would do something like that. Well, that's why. Now let's go get ourselves a little wrench, take these 2 little guys off. Like it's been spliced. So this has been changed already once before, you know, for what was here. You can see this stuff on it. This is probably a fuse, a resettable fuse. It'll get hot. If it gets too hot, there'll be like a little breaker that shuts off in here, that cools off, and it clicks back on again. Let me go get a, I don't know what that is, 3/8. Get those 2 jam nuts off of there, get those wires off, and get these 2 bolts out of it. Yeah, that's where it gets its power from too for the solenoid. I am going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to go clean up these mounting surfaces, and I'm going to go clean up the ends of these wires with like a wire wheel, and we'll take like a little bit of grease or something to kind of protect them a little bit. And those bolts should fit through there. I'm going to hit them on the drill a little bit. We'll open those up just a little bit so that hardware can fit through. All right, got the new switch in. Let's go see if that plays well. Let's go give it gas, no keys off. All right. That is functioning like it should. Still runs. All right, we got kind of squared away. I want to take a second, and they had kind of half of a bungee cord holding it and all. Let's go make a piece of wood. Let's get rid of this mess. Let's make a piece of wood. We'll block between here and the battery. Maybe try to hold it right about there, and we'll just get some big heavy tie wraps around it, kind of support it. Either that, I'll put a piece of wood here. I'll do it around this way. Maybe we can flip this one over a little bit. I didn't like how this was cutting into the, that was very close to arcing out. It is notched into it. Looks like it might have even, I don't know if that's just black paint or, yeah, it might be just black paint. Anyway, I don't like it. I want to fix it. So, let me go take care of that. I'd say it looks a little better. I put a piece of wood on each side of it, and then we have a heavy duty tie wrap going around the box, pulling it to the one side. Flip them around so they are inboard, out of harm's way, and won't be getting chafed on anything. Hit everything with grease. Ran around with a wrench, any of the electrical contacts. I kind of just saw if anything was loose, or we didn't see anything. I am suspecting these do fail a lot, and that ignition switch was really kind of sloppy in its setup. So I'm giving it a 75% chance that that's what was wrong with it. I feel more than confident of, we'll call it 75-80%. I think we should just kind of go beat on it a little bit and see if it decides to act up. Again, I went to go, the problem went away just between putting it on the trailer and bringing it here, and then us jumping a wire on. All of a sudden we couldn't recreate what it was doing. But when I was there, I tried. It was dead. Nothing was happening. So it was a legit failure. All right, let's go put it around a little bit. All right, we got her in reverse. Let's go turn the key on. Hopefully you don't need any choke. I don't know what we got for brakes. Let's go try them. Yeah, they work. I think we're getting braking and laying speed records. Let it stall. We flip her over to forward. Try it again. Not too bad. The problem is the steering is so squirrely. Like, you got nothing to hold. Like, you normally you hold the steering wheel and it holds you in place. You can kind of hold on to it. Let's go. See if we can off-road it a little. Stay away from the bottles. All right. Actually not too bad. Man, this is pretty bumpy territory, but that's floored. Let's go hit the brakes. Good. Butter. I don't know if that's a governor or something. Let's see, keep running it. I don't know if that was me kind of like bouncing off the throttle. know what I mean? Let it die. Huh. Nothing's on fire. Smoky a little bit. Let's go do some donuts. Right there. Does seem like it stutters a little bit. It'll like go and like did it. I thought it was my because if you come off the gas pedal enough, it shuts spark off. It does seem like it's kind of doing that a little bit. I'm gonna run it a little bit longer, probably without filming, just kind of bomb it around a little bit and see if it manifests into anything more. Could be just be starving for fuel on sharp turns and that kind of thing from beating on it. Let me go see. Backfired and died. And now it's going. But it does have some kind of run issue. Again, we're shaking the shit out of it, but that's, you know, on purpose. So I did notice the gas cap got no lens on it. Kind of wonder, it possibly has a little bit of water in the fuel. I ran it around the parking lot, which is kind of smooth. It didn't do it. It does seem like if you floor it, you let off and then you go to floor it again, it kind of was bogging and it popped and it fired back like it, I don't know, like it was like possibly fouling out a spark plug. Looks like we're cooking some stuff off of there. Let's go look and make sure we don't have anything else that is kind of, you know, coming apart on us. It's got a double boot. It's got a boot and a boot. Yeah, see, like I said, the gas cap is missing its lens. Kind of wonder if some water got down inside there. Also, let's go see how we can get in there. Do we have a tint of fuel? So one thing that's kind of like concerning to me, it may or may not. It looks like pretty clear fuel. This is a two-stroke. It's supposed to have two-stroke oil in it. It is smoking once in a while, so it's kind of acting like it does. This is probably the hardest thing that's been ridden in a while. Oh, the jokes. Yeah, some premix. Actually, you know all that much gas. I mean, it was running out of gas. Thought I had more than that in it. Yeah, it's getting pretty low. I'm gonna go mix some premix up for it, and we'll throw a couple gallons in it. Possibly going around a turn, it was starving for fuel a little bit, but I'm a little concerned that is possibly straight gas that is there, not premixed. Again, maybe they didn't know. They didn't have it very long. So Let me go take care of that. Yeah, so for 50 to 1, it's 2.6 ounces per gallon. I like this little bottle. I keep using it over and over again because you can squeeze it. It fills up to a level. And then you can dump from there. So that is 2.6 for 1 gallon. I have 2.5 gallons, so I'm going to put roughly, what, 6, maybe 7, because we got a little bit of gas that's questionable that's still in there. So I'm going to fill this up another. We're going to do this for 2.5 times at that same amount. So I mixed this jug up is 80 to 1, and the oh, I hate these gas cans. I looked it up. It said, let me start that again. So I looked it up. Except for the golf cart, 82 to 1, 1.5 ounces per gallon. And I had already mixed this 50 to 1. I do believe what is in there didn't have any oil in it. That's a guess on my part. But let's go. We probably put half a gallon in there, maybe a little bit more. Maybe hit up a little bit more than that. And that should get it. At least there's something in it where I feel confident. I'll ask them if they did put 2-stroke oil in it, because sometimes you mix it up. It doesn't have a color to it. It depends on what oil you do use. But generally they color it so you can kind of tell. And it just didn't look like it. So when I backed it out of the building, fired up, started up, no problem. Shut it off. Went from reverse to forward. It started to crank slower and slower and slower, and eventually the battery went dead and wouldn't start. Had to take a jumper pack, put the jumper pack on it. Took a little while to start. I pulled the choke out, it started, and pushed it back in, and it took off. And I brought it back in, had it on the battery charger for about 10 minutes. Let's go. I got a tire up in the air. It's a possibility that I left the key on. It may have let the battery run down. Let's go put a meter on the battery and see if we are charging. Yeah, let's see what we get. We're on DC. Resting voltage is 12.5 volts. Let's start it up. And off, 12.4, turn the key off. It is not charging. Well, that's why the battery went dead. That's not good. We have a switching, I would think we would have a switching problem, because if the starter generator was no good, I don't think it would crank. That's my guess. I wonder if, again, she didn't have it that long. Go double check it one more time. Do the same. And it died. I'm holding it to the floor. It ain't running. Go pull the choke. And it died. So we have our crank problem fixed, but it definitely has other issues. It is not charging, and it is kind of running when it wants to, and then it kind of cuts out. I see fuel in the fuel filter. I don't think it's starved for fuel, but again, it could have water in that carb. And I also see the fuel now has a color to it. You can actually see that there's a little bit of a difference in the color of the fuel. And like I said, the gas cap has no lens on it. We did something else like that recently. I replaced it. Yeah, but we don't have any lens on that, so if rain hits it, it runs right through the center of it. It puts water in the gas. So we got more to do. Thought it was gonna be that simple, huh? Let's look into the run issue first. Let's see if we get this air cleaner out of our way and see if we can take the float bowl off, take a peek at the bottom of it, just see if there's a little puddle of water floating around in there. If not, maybe we'll put a spark checker on it, see if spark is kind of coming and going. This probably has points on it. Yeah, so it does not have the style. If you're looking right here, it's hard to see. Get you in there. There is a diaphragm type. It's kind of like a like your little weed whacker style. A little diaphragm inside there that has a fuel pump. There is no float bowl for us to open up, so that could be taken apart and cleaned and all, and have an issue with the carb. Let's make sure we don't have any play in the crank, because that'll cause some run issues also. I'm gonna throw a spark checker on it, and we'll run it. We'll see if it kind of cuts out and dies, and see if the spark is kind of coming and going on the thing. The other thing I can think of, Josh will probably pull that plug too. We'll take a quick peek at it. I want to say too, if you're not handy, I don't know if I would try buying something. Yeah, what's this thing? 54 years old. Just because they're more temperamental. Not having electronic ignition and all. I just don't think it does. Let's go see. Oof. Throwing one of them in there. Let's go throw the spark checker on it though. And spark checker is just, it's a light that goes in the path of it, and it'll flicker when it's working, and it'll stop flickering. Turn that light off. It'll stop flickering when it's not. Let's get the tire out of the way so that we don't kick the stand out. Let's go fire it up, see what it does now. So it's floored. We give it a choke. Chokes all the way up. You see how I let off? I'm letting off, hitting it. So I never changed my foot position on the throttle. My foot was even on the gas all the time. You heard it, RPMs run and then kind of curve off. I definitely think it has a fuel problem. We're trying to run it with some choke on. It stays running with the choke on. Yeah, it's just dying. As soon as I turn the choke off, it's dying. So it's definitely having a fuel issue. Sometimes what has me a little bit concerned though, sometimes if you're running around on a two-stroke with the choke on, there's a possibility you have crank seal leaks, which could possibly be a problem on this. That's why I grabbed the crank and I moved around a little bit to see if it had any kind of play. So unfortunately, we got to dig into that carb. I don't know if I have a carb kit for it, because it's going to be one of those. Trying to get the name of the carb. It's a large diaphragm, about 2 inches across. You know, I may or may not have that. We also have a, it's part of my meter. We have a no charging system running. So when it switches back over, I wonder if someone switched that key system around and eliminated. Problem is, I only saw 2 wires. I'm going to take a better look and see up under there if there was more than just 2 wires going to it, if it was a third or a fourth that went to it that engaged and disengaged the charging system part of it. If not, everything should be kind of automatic when it switches over. I think we'd have a set of contacts and points inside here that decides how it works. Might actually have to look some stuff up. Imagine that. We have a bunch of goofy wiring on this, so we have a bunch of stuff that is, you know, that. I don't know if it needs a battery, like once it's running, if it needs a battery to stay running or not. Not sure. So I was probing around over here and trying to figure out what would backfeed the battery to charge it. And only thing that comes back to this circuit, this is the hot lead where, you know, the juice is going to be coming back, is whatever is on here, which is just this thin wire coming off of it, which is going to that fuse, that resettable fuse. And when I probed it, you got to fight to get a signal. And then I pulled the other end off of it here. This to be, you know, what's coming for the charge wire. And on this, it's same thing. It's very, I don't know if you can see how much rust is on it. Let's try putting a jumper from here to here and see if we get anything kind of coming out of it, and see if possibly this circuit is just dirty before we start tearing into this. Again, this is the only feedback I see, only path, I should say, that I see coming back to the battery for any kind of capacity to charge it. Everything else, there's nothing else connected to the hot side. Is just this going through here, then of course wherever this branches off to, but watch that wire just pulls out. It's not even connected to anything. Okay, see what we got. I have a test light on the circuit to see, you know, just that we have power going to it right now, which is, you know, just coming off of battery juice. Let's go crank it. Nope, not charging. All right, so I spent a little time thinking about how the charging system may work. I tried looking it up on my phone, and I really didn't find much of a wiring diagram or understanding how it kind of works. But I've had garden tractors that's had starter generators, just they didn't flip direction like this one does. So the generator was called a starter first, as a starter, and then once it starts getting probably over a certain RPM, my guess would switch over to charging and start back charging the battery. So whatever lead is going to come back to this post, normally on like your car just has a starter. Well, you energize the relay, starts the car, and as soon as the car started, power goes away from here, and then it finds a different path to go back to go charge the battery. It doesn't come back to here and across it to go and charge. But on this, anytime it's running, this is going to stay energized because, again, it's a starter generator. It's connected to the pedal switch, and it's over here. I'll prove that to you. See if we can get a light on it. Let me set up a light. Actually, I might be able to do it. All right, we know that side's live. My light's working. There we go. And then this side's dead right now. Let me set that up so that we can have that light on there. All I did is I just swapped locations from where the probe is and where the plug is. Just swap them around. Give you a proof like this side so we know it's live. Should light up the light. And if we go to crank it, turn the key on. The whole time it's cranking, right? And then when it goes to start, it's gonna stay lit. It's gonna stay lit. Until we let off that pedal, and then it opens the circuit up again. So it's not like a car where you go and you crank it, and as soon as it starts, that relay shuts off. That relay just stays energized the whole time. And that's how power from that comes back and starts charging the battery back up again. I have a feeling, like it looks like it has a bunch of probes kind of tied into it. This one, and then our third one there. All three of them go to this relay. I'm kind of wondering if this is not switching back and forth like it should. Let's, we could probably probe it and see if anything's coming out of it, but I wonder if we can, let's go probe it a little bit, see if we can get any kind of education. And if we can't figure it out, let's take it apart, just see if there's any corrosion. There's probably like a set of points that are in it. All right, go see what we get. Stabbing at that. I got the key on. Let's just see if anything lights up. Ain't gonna work. Hold on, my light fell apart. There you go. Make sure we're working. We are. Okay. Nothing. Let's turn the key's already on. Let's hit the pedal, see if anything decides to. All right, so the bottom one lights up as soon as I make contact. Middle one, all three. So all three seem to have power on it. You would think that we would have like one be a ground and others be power. I'm gonna switch over and see if we have, all right, so that's grounded. So they all of them seem to switch from, so that should go out. That should go out. That should go out. Wouldn't have expected that. I would have thought one of them would have been different. For shits and giggles, I'm gonna go put the meter back on it one more time, confirm that we're not charging, and then let's go take this apart. All right, resting voltage, 12.10. I'm just across the battery right now. Let's go hit it. And of course, it still won't run without the choke. Yeah, not working. Okay, let's go pop that out of there. I got that out of there. Let's poke at it a little. Definitely got a bunch of cobwebs and stuff. I would think, so we got like a choke or a coil. You know, all the nests that are in there. Across here, I wonder, we could be losing it across these windings. Before I took it out, I started it up, and I had the charge meter on it. It never changed poles. It never clicked from one to the other. It just kind of stayed where it was, and then I tried grabbing it and actually physically firing it. I wanted to see if that made any difference on the charging, and it did not. But I do believe this is the regulator. I think it is called out as the regulator. Let's go see. Let's go throw a meter on it. Can you see the meter? Sometimes the camera doesn't pick it up. Let's go to that one. That one. It's showing close. Let me see if I can figure out. Get my fingers on the. So it does change states. It looks like to 9 ohms. And back to 0 for the most part. So I do think that circuit is working when it does fire. Oh, it's not touching the cover, is it? I think like some of them were really cruddy though, because here's you got a D plus, DT, and I'm not sure what the last one says. I'm going to bend this tab down. I'm going to go take some time and all the connections. I'm going to go over and I'm going to clean them up, and we'll put it all back together. Make sure we're just not losing it in some point. And kind of, I still, like I said, I still kind of think that if the starter generator is good enough to start it and crank it both directions, I would think that it would be functioning enough to generate power. Again, that's just a guess on my part, but it just seems like it would make sense. Like if it would work as an electric motor, it would work as a generator. Again, I might be eating those words. All right, let me go clean a bunch of stuff up, and we'll go try it again, see if we find something that's just kind of blown out. You can see how much rust is on here. Even like, you know, the shell's not grounding out, possibly. So, well, I did find something. I was in the process of, like I said, cleaning the wires up and where it mounts and everything. So the green wire was the top one. You can take a picture of it. And it says on there D minus is right there. And you follow the green wire back, and it is going to, right there, it says DF. That is not D minus. So right there alone, the field wire is not going in the correct location. So between these three, I think we possibly have it just wired incorrectly. I am going to try to look to see if we have the two other indications on there, the D minus and the D plus on these, and see if that is possibly what our issue is. You can see how much corrosion is on them. Yeah, they're looking pretty, there you go, looking pretty funky. So I'm going to do a little bit of poking and hoping, and we'll see what we can find. Maybe. It took the wires off. They're pretty nasty, huh? Clean them up. Still don't see any letters on it anywhere. I see like an A1 here, but that's not going to help us. I wonder if it doesn't even list it, because if it switches polarity, there isn't a negative and a positive. I don't know. All right, so here's my guess. We know the green went to DF field, and then we have a D negative and a D positive, and then we got the other two wires. My guess would be, you know, black would be negative and red would be positive, but the only thing is we don't know if they're correct on here. You know, that could be opposite. I kind of wonder also too is maybe it only charges in one direction, like it shuts off, like you wouldn't want to charge the battery backwards, right? I just kind of wonder maybe it you know, only charges forward. So we may want to check that. We'll make sure we run it forward or reverse on charging. I had already done that before. I wasn't doing anything either direction, but I'm, you know, now that if we do get it running, we do get it charging, that might be the case. Right, let's go fire it up, see if we get anything out of it. See if it still fires up. All right. Keys on, no smoke yet. Let's go hit the pedal. Okay, that's in reverse, still not charging. Let's go try it forward to see if it makes any difference. Just in case. So it was wired wrong, and it only charges in one direction. I kind of had a inkling, maybe because, you know, I was trying to think, how would they switch the heavy power leads from one direction to the other too? But that works. All right, good. We're up to like 14 volts it was charging. I don't know if the meter was showing, the camera was picking it up. We got it. All right. No components needed. We just had an issue with the way it was wired up. I bet you if we take those two wires and we swap them, I bet you it only charges in reverse. But I'm not going to go screw with that. All right, I'm going to go clean a bunch of stuff up. I'm going to go get these covers and rest of the stuff bolted back up like we had it. And we'll call that part for a win. I did order a carburetor. It was cheap enough on eBay. So I may wait for that to come in. I'm having a feeling that the diaphragm that's in that carb is stiff and it's not I think it kind of runs out of fuel. I bet you if you kind of almost let it at an idle, it would keep up. As soon as you went to go try and run it around full throttle, then it was falling on its face and not being able to supply enough fuel to keep it running. And we put the choke on it, and it's helping it out. Again, that's just a guess. Yeah, let me go button this up, and maybe wait a few days for that carburetor to come in, and we can tear that mess apart and make sure we have the right one. If not, we could possibly repair the one that's in there. But yeah. Let's see if we can get that, I don't know what to call that, intake manifold. It's not really intake manifold, it's the intake air cleaner holder. Manifold will be on the other side. 1/2 inch? Yes, it is. See if we see anything that's in there that's a little funky. Let's go leave the easy one to last. See what's inside there. I gotta bite you? No. Looks like it's caged in, and it looks like there is a couple, maybe a little bit of a pain in the ass to get to. There's a nut there, and a nut. Oh, they're gonna suck. We'll get them, but they're gonna suck. And like you can see, I am looking. Yeah. It's right there, and then the bottom's out, and the top one. Holy moly! I wonder if we're better off pulling the starter generator out of the way. Can't even see that one. I wonder if we can that stay, and we could take the, does that whole manifold come off? You know what I mean? Does this whole thing pull out of here? Hey, they don't see us trying to get. Yeah, let's go tap on this a little bit. See if this assembly comes off the side of the motor. I'm just kind of worried about gaskets though. If we're gonna take out something that we don't have. No. We need to anyway. It's a little bit of a gap right there. See if we can get a screwdriver in it. Maybe we can get it to pop. There it goes. It's moving. So we have a. I still think we may have a problem with the generator. It looks like the generator bolt uses that bracket. Yeah, so that lower mount is connected to that. What a pain. All right, I'm going to disconnect the battery. Might as well just kind of unbolt this and lift it to the side and get it out of our way. Got 2 bolts out of it. Let's see if that's enough to get the wiggle free. Get the belt off of it first. There we go. Damn it. You're almost hit. Let's lay that to the side. Now we can see it. I wonder if, check out that choke. Is that the throttle? Yeah, it's going to be the throttle. They just took the wire and bent it around. It's not even. Yeah, seems like more and more that we kind of screw with this thing, the more and more dicked. It's an appropriate word for it. It is. Seems like it was definitely just kind of cleaned up to get it for sale. We need a regular screwdriver to get the choke off. Fuel line. I wonder if we can get to the hardware without taking this off now. Yeah, even that's going to be fairly close, huh? I'm going to try. I'm going to try to get those out of the way. Let me get that off and see if we can get the carb out of our way. No clamp there. Actually, no clamps on any of it. Well, I wouldn't say it's easy to get to, like a little thin wrench. I kind of got the top one turning. one of those. Problem is, it like it's gonna bottom out or top out, I should say. And then we got to loosen the bottom. You got to kind of, when you're putting it back on, start them both. The bottom one's pretty easy to get to, but there's no room. I don't know, there's not exactly the greatest of design. I guess back in 1971. What if they didn't have as many fuel problems back then? Well, I know they didn't. But you would still think, you know, that you'd have to get into it. That one's pulled away a little, and then we can kind of work back to the top one and get the carb to pop free. There it is. I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna get with my fingers. Getting that put back on there is gonna be a pain in the ass. I can see you can unbolt the linkage above it with the throttle disconnected. I'm going to work on that. Clamp off that fuel line. I'll meet you at the bench. We'll see what we got. And here we go. Getting that back on there, it's going to be fun. Let's go mark like an orientation. I think you kind of, you line these tabs up is the idea, but let's just kind of mark stuff where it came apart. So the top is a fuel filter, that like a fuel screen. And that another thing I kind of noticed right away too is the fuel line came off really easy. Kind of wondering if it was sucking air. Could have been a possibility while we were running it with the choke, you know. What are the odds that I'm not going to break that stem off? Yeah. These are a diaphragm carburetor. They have like a built-in fuel pump. What's good about these is they can run any direction. That's their claim to fame. I'm not even getting that. Let's go buzz the outer perimeter off. Can we? We're not even going to be able to get to that because that's in the way. Let's go get like a hook down in the center of it and see if we can pop up on it. Nothing like, how old is this thing? 71. So 55 years old. 55-year-old piece of plastic. Oh boy. Does it have an external? It does right there. Air fuel mix. But that's not going to be the problem. Because the idled fine. Let's try. Got the crack, that's good. So a lot of times the diaphragm gets stiffened up, not flexible anymore. It just doesn't move for us. Yeah, anything for dirt too. It's got little check valves, fuel pump scenario of it. Got a door there and a door there. It just kind of works off a pulse of the engine, which probably has a little port coming into it. Yeah, probably that port right there sends a signal and it kind of fires this diaphragm back and forth, which makes the fuel move back and forth. It's a little deeper. There's that diaphragm. I wouldn't say it is terrible. And it has a needle seat just like a regular carb, which is that right there. Let's see if we can get that out of there. And what happens, like what I was talking about, where like starves for fuel, that diaphragm gets stiff and it does not open this needle. It doesn't allow enough fuel to come in the fuel bowl. We'll call this the fuel bowl. I don't see a ton of anything. I do see whatever this is right here. Kind of crap. I don't know if that came off my finger or that was already in there. Maybe to drive this backwards? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to be able to get in. I think that's one piece right there. I don't think that separates that. It's just a casting mark. So, here's my thoughts. We can screw with that all we want. Let's go call eBay up real quick, and you can do that. And kind of call it and say, hey, maybe we'll just kind of go with a new carburetor that's not 51 years old, and possibly that one will perform better. Let's just make sure everything kind of mirrors itself. Make sure the bolt pattern's the same. Got that same plate on it. The bore looks the same. So this one had an air fuel mix. They both have it. There's that one right there. Again, more than likely it's going to be more towards the idle side of things. Be my guess. It's the caps. So let's go. Put this one in this one's place. Let's see how we make out. Did it come with a gasket? Didn't even come with a gasket. You're kidding me, right? Nope. Was that one? I think that one's still stuck on that intake. And that manifold that we're looking to go pull off, that's a reed valve. It's a little one-way door that is in there. I'm going to take a quick peek, make sure that looks okay. There's nothing funky with that. But, I might fix it. Let's go see if we can see down in there. I see some dirt. I'm not gonna, let's give you a little. There's a little crap in there. I don't see nothing terrible, but too much light for you. I think we'll leave it well enough alone. Like I said, I don't want to push that off of there. There's that bracket that was in our way that would have had to come off to be able to take this off with it. So I am going to fight with taking my time to get that put on there. I'm going to go clean these threads up real quick though, so that we can kind of get the nuts started and spin them and work the two of them on there real gingerly. Plus it looks like someone's already was in there with some kind of something or other, because like those are like homemade washers that were above the screws that were on there. I'm not quite sure. If it was taken apart and cleaned, I kind of doubt it. But let's go. Continue on getting your back together. Do we have a good... I don't think gas flow is a problem. I don't think that's going to be what the issue is, that we're starving for fuel coming from the tank. You see some like checking in the fuel line there. And that's a... I don't know what you want to call that. Alright. Actually went back together easier than I thought. Let's go see what it does, if anything. So we're going to need choke because I know it's got no fuel in it. Sparking. a minute to warm up. Good, it'll run. I want to take a bunch of stuff off of it. It's all vibrating off. And go get rid of all of this stuff. And again, we'll let it warm up. Plus we gotta adjust the air fuel mix. But yeah, all this stuff is kind of taking a dive. Let me clear that out. That's better. Young. Go, Joe. Let it warm up. Yeah, seems better. Did seem like it started to do the same thing a little bit. I was trying to figure out where the air fuel mix is. I'm gonna try to make it go a little richer. Again, we don't have the air cleaner on it yet neither, but unfortunately it's tucked right there. I'm gonna try to be able to get anywhere with needle nose. What a crappy setup, huh? I want to give it just a little more fuel, which is going to have that being backed out. I don't know if the generator is touching it. I was just... It was just missing it right there. Let me back that out a little bit more and go pop the air cleaner out. Because the one concern I'm having, you know, thinking about all the path that this thing has had, I'm just kind of a little concerned about crank seals leaking, because that will cause kind of the same issue. I already grabbed the crank and see if it had any play in it. I did not notice any on that side. This side you can't really get to, but that also can be an issue because that will change the air fuel mix on it, and I'm not getting into that. But you know, also too, because we're still kind of questioning whether it had straight gas in it or two-stroke gas in it. Let me back that out a little bit and we'll kind of put it up a little again and see what it does. So we get half a turn on it. See if we get an improvement at all. Much better, yeah. Need a little bit of richening up. Could that original carb possibly have been able to do that? I don't know. Again, this was so cheap. I'd rather have it done, one and done, instead of kind of keep playing with it. All right, I'm gonna go button up the air cleaner and a bunch of other junk that I got kind of laying around. I want to change these out. Change them out. I want to put clamps on these where these are, on those two locations. I already got one in there. The one on the carb is already done. Those little spring clamps. Those is what I'm using. You either love them or you hate them, or you love to hate them. I got it buttoned up. Of course, the fuel system kind of drained down a little. Let's go just double check, make sure everything is working. Are we on bolts? Yes, we are. So the battery's at 12.2. Let's turn the key on. 12.3. That's charging. Second to build up the gas because I emptied the system. I got air in the line. Good. And it's meant when you let off the pedal to stall. It's not supposed to stay running. That's how you'll be able to switch it from forward and reverse. Good. Function check done. We definitely say it's not exactly EPA friendly. I'll hold it for an idle for a second. As you get, I've got a micro switch that kills spark. Just want to make sure it idles all right. Any less than that, it should just shut off. Yeah. Explore it. Yeah, she got a cloud going in here. All right, I'm gonna go air out. Fog. Yeah, let's go switch it to reverse. Let's go take her for one last putt. I'm gonna move some bottles and junk out of the way here. That's blowing out any tires. Clean this up. No more donuts. I heard it. Just make sure she runs with the choke off. I'm not flooring it. Try not to bounce around too much. Good. Let her die out right here. Yeehaw. Well, I definitely would say it was one of those marketplace questionable, cleaned up for sale, painted and look to make it look pretty, but mechanicals definitely need a bunch of love. on it. You can see even just the fact that either they didn't check for no charging, or, you know, just didn't, knew it and just sold it the way it was. Kind of, again, a couple of things that are kind of sketchy on it. I think it's a pretty cool rig. It actually handles better than I thought. I thought the tiller steering there would be really kind of crappy, that it would bounce you around and have you like, I have something else called the Beaver. Well, it's a joke. Anyway, it's a amphibious vehicle that has a tiller steering on it. It's ridiculous because every bump you go over, the tiller steering kind of rocks back and forth from side to side. And every time you go over a bump and it starts rocking side to side, it rocks more because you can't hold the handles steady. Whereas a steering wheel, you have something to hold on to. You know, just the input is the turning of it, not you trying to support your body as the thing's rocking around. But good. I hope she'd be happy with it. Again, my opinion maybe got a little taken on it. She paid decent money for it, but it's a cool little rig. Hopefully it's kind of squared up enough when ironed out that its issues are mostly behind it. Got to get a gas cap for it, especially if you leaves it outside. The gas cap's going to suck in water. Right there, it's got no lens on it, so it doesn't need that. We just put a regular cap on it, and you can see the clear plastic of the tank, whether it's got fuel in it or not. So, hi guys, but I think that's gonna be it. I think the bees are starting to kind of go around it, so I'm gonna go get her back in the shop, get it on the trailer actually, and drop it back off. I thank y'all for hanging out, a little bit of wrenching, and you know, some odd stuff. Kind of like that, something different I haven't really kind of played around much, because able to get me an education on how things work. Bye guys, till then, I'll see you later. And just a little bonus footage for those who care. This is that trike that is getting built out of a high-heeled shoe chair, because why not? Just a little, I'm not gonna make a standalone video on it anymore. Maybe I'll show a little bit on the end of other videos, just kind of give you an update. So I have motorcycle carburetors mounted up on it. We have a braking system with calipers mounted in place. Everything is just tacked. It still has to all come apart and get welded. We have exhaust systems on it up top, which consists of, these are air-cooled Volkswagen intake manifold, because the spread was just right. The mufflers that were on it were like square cans. They didn't even have a flange. So this is good. I could loosen them up. You could actually turn directions on them. I may still try to go pitch them straight back, heat these pipes up and kick them out. But the carbs seem like they worked out pretty good. Spacing is just right around the axle. Got some room going around them for access and to work in the chokes and all. I don't have fuel. I didn't run any brake lines. I didn't run any fuel lines or anything like that yet. Everything is just still trying to claim its space. We could probably fire one up. We squirt a little bit of fuel in it. Hear what it sounds like with the muffler on it. Shall we? All right. It's just a little two-stroke gas. Let's see if we can get past the probably fill up the float bowl if we really wanted to. So we'll give her a little bit of that. Hold it open with our finger. And all that clutch and everything should spin. There you go. ×2. Getting there. I'm planning on one day a week I kind of pick away at this thing without filming on it, just because it's a little bit more enjoyable that way.